Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel CCUK Resin, and this is going to be another EcoPour project because I haven't done many of these videos and I'm actually really enjoying playing with it. Now I've just cleaned my station, so I don't want to get this everywhere, but I've got these two molds which I think would look really cool in sort of a marbled effect EcoPour. And I've not done it before and I've not used these molds before, so it's probably all going to go wrong. But that's what this channel is all about, learning from my mistakes that you don't make the same ones. So the first thing I'm going to do, I've seen a video with EcoPour where somebody just sprayed the inside of the molds with a bit of alcohol. This is all that is, 99% isopropyl alcohol. And apparently that helped prevent any bubbles. I don't usually get any with this EcoPour, but better safe than sorry. So I don't know how much these are going to take, but I'm going to guesstimate at least a full one of these. And I'm not going to measure this scientifically. I'm just going to get some in the bowl, a decent amount, add some water, and then we'll have our EcoPour mixture, hopefully. And I just like to get it to a sort of pancake batter consistency. But I am going to need quite a bit, I think, to fill these two molds. And if I get a little bit extra, I'm sure I can find a spare mold. So here we go. Trying to be a little bit careful on this video not to get it everywhere, because I have, as I say, just cleaned my work surface and I don't want it to get in an absolute tip again. I think one more big scoop, maybe two, and we should be there. I think that should be enough to fill those two molds, hopefully. And it's like plaster of Paris. If you've never worked with casting powders before, it's like plaster of Paris. So I get this one from Apex, apexresin.co.uk. And if you want to get some, use my discount code CCUK to save yourself some money. So you can see I've got quite a bit in there, and I think that should be enough. Now I'm going to add some water. Now the correct ratio is 100 grams of powder to 30 grams of water. I'm just going to guesstimate about that much. A mix. Now I prefer to mix with a fork. I just find you get less lumps, less bubbles. And I'm going to try and get a pancake mixture. And I think I might even need a little bit more than this, because these are quite big molds, guys. In fact, I'm just scraping it off the bottom, and I'm using one of these silicone 500ml mixing bowls just because it's going to be a lot less mess if I use one of these. And when it dries, you just literally tap it and it'll all break up. So again, just mixing it all around, and then I'll decide if I need any more. But I've still got some lumps in there. I can feel them on the bottom, which I don't want. I want all the powder to be wonderfully mixed in with the water. And that's why using a fork is a bit easier. I've seen some people use a sieve as well to sieve it in, a bit like you would flour. Personally, I don't. I'm just mixing it around. Let's put another 2 of these in. Let's go for 4. And then I'm going to go get a touch more water because I think I'm going to need it. And look at this, it's already going everywhere. My workstation doesn't stay clean for very long. So, touch more water, in with the powder, and let's mix it round again. Until I'm confident all of those lumps have gone. And it's just a beautiful mixture. Now it is quite forgiving stuff as well, so don't worry too much if you haven't got your consistencies exactly right. But I do want to make sure that all of that powder is mixed in and there's no big lumps on the bottom, around the sides, or anywhere else for that matter. So again, just mixing it around, a couple of minutes, same as you would your resin. And then I'm going to look at the consistency. And for me at the minute, this is looking okay, but a little bit too runny. Right, I'm confident there's no lumps on the bottom now, but there's still the odd lump on the side. So let's mix that in as well. And this isn't like resin, you can't see the streaks. Here we go. Keep on mixing. And there's still that big lump there, so that needs breaking up. And this is where using a fork I find is quite helpful, because it gets rid of these little lumps that you're gonna get if you're doing it in this bigger quantity. And I'm happy with that. Oh, no I'm not. There's that lump there. I don't want any lumps, no lumps. And as you can see, you're better off just taking your time with this bit and making sure it's all mixed and you haven't got lumps. I'm just scraping around all those sides. Make sure there's no lumps clinging on. And then I think one more scoop powder, because I do want it to be like a thick pancake batter for this. In we go. And I think that'll be about right. And I'm hoping now, with the amount of EcoPour I've used, it's going to be enough for both of these. So again, just mix it round. This should be about the right consistency, I think. And next time, I'll probably mix it off camera, so you don't have to watch me mixing EcoPour. Now I've got these 3 different colors, and I'm going to try and marble all of them into this piece, just because anybody that knows me and watches the channel knows that I can never just pick one. Just giving it a proper mix around now. And I'm hoping there's no lumps or bumps or anything left in there, and I've got a lovely smooth batter-like consistency. That looks about right to me. We're going to find out. Oh dear. But I am going to give these a little bit longer. So it normally cures in about an hour, but I'm actually going to let these cure overnight anyway. And I think that'll just strengthen them up, because I'm a bit worried about how thin this wall is on this side of this mold in particular. The others I think I'm going to be okay with. It's just that one. So I'm pretty confident there's no lumps left. I'm just scraping it around again. Hopefully that's gotten any of those lumps and bumps. And we've just got a nice consistent batter mix. I just want to get some fish and dip it in there and then put it in a deep fat fryer. That's the consistency I'm going for anyway. So here we go. Right, I'm happy with that. So I'm just going to move my fork. I'm going to wipe it straight off so I can use it again. Check this out, Andy cleaning on the go. So I can't wipe my stick in this case, so I'm going to wipe my fork instead. There we go. And it's just easier to wipe it now and have to do that later. So there we go. And I've got these 3 colours. So I've got wild orange, Dickens red, and Crusoe yellow. So all I'm going to do is put a few drops of each in. So this is that yellow. Now I'm going to get the orange, like so. And I don't know if these will intermix or not, but we'll find out. And then just a touch of this Dickens red, which is gorgeous, by the way, guys. And there we go. I'm happy that that is enough colorant. Now, the key is here, from what I've seen. You don't want to mix it, but you do want to make sure it's going all the way through the piece. So I'm just going to get a stick and I'm going to go in and around like that. And hopefully these colors are all going to intermix with that white and give us a marbling effect. Otherwise, this whole video has been a waste of time. So let's see what happens, shall we? And I'm hoping it's not just on the surface now and it has gone through. So here goes, first one. Start with this one. Then I'm going to put some in here just in case we run out of that beautiful colours. And now what I'm going to do for the second half of these, because I can see that I've got mainly white left in there. Just going to get my stick and go through again. So we're going to get a slightly less colourful part on these bases, but that's okay. Beautiful colours. Now this one. And now I'm just going to, again, just swirl them around a little bit. So I know those whites are intermixing. Look at that. And I'm just hoping I've mixed enough. I'm going to give it a bit of a tap as well in a minute before I completely fill them. But I think I've judged these about right. So I'm just going to tap it. That way any bubbles that are in there hopefully will come to the surface. And there we go. And this one as well. Bit of a tap. And then we're going to completely fill them, hopefully. And I'm going to be just short. You watch. There's that one. Beautiful. And then here's this one. Oh, I'm just short. Look at that. All right, let's mix up a tiny bit more. Can't have that. All right. And I've still got some colours in there, so we're probably going to have a less marbled base, guys. That should be enough. And hopefully I've got enough water there just to finish that off. And it is going to just all intermix now. And we're going to have a pale base on this one. But look, this is all I'm doing. Mix the powder and have like peachy base. And I am going to put a tiny bit actually on the base of the other one as well. Why not? And as I say, these should be cured in about an hour or two. Might as well get all these colours off the side and intermix those. Here we go. So it's going to have a slightly different base. That's okay. All the way to the top. That is that one. And this one can have a touch more just to fill it all the way up. And there we go. They are now full. And now it's just a case of leaving them to cure. So I'm going to leave these for approximately 24 hours. I'll probably get a little bit impatient and demold them in the morning. But that's it. That's looking really cool from the sides. Let's hope it cures that way. Let's hope I can demold. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hey guys, and it's the next morning, and this EcoPour has definitely cured now, so I'm going to attempt to demold these and see what they look like. I'm no expert with demolding EcoPour, but hopefully they've turned out well. So let's start off with the smallest, which is this little skull, and it's definitely cured solid, so that's good. Out you come. Wow, he's turned out really cool. Look at that. Beautiful little EcoPour skull. Now obviously to protect these, I am going to want to put some sort of finish on them, which I've actually ordered some from Create and Bloom, so hopefully that'll be here over the next couple of days, because if you don't, your colours will fade and it won't look as good. So that's him. Now I think he was the easiest one to demold. Let's go for this one first, and I think this is going to be the best, so we're going to do that one last. So again, with EcoPour, I believe you want to loosen your mould a little bit, but then rather than if you do it with resin, you want to almost do it upside down. So keep the piece like that. Now with this flexible mold, it ain't going to be a problem. With the not so flexible mold, I think it is going to cause issues. So we're going to see. And that's why these are better for EcoPour, these flexible molds. So it is demolding, so that's cool. And then always turn your mold the right way around. I'm actually going to clean these because there's quite a bit of colour still on that. I went in quite heavy, look. Wow, look at that though. Beautiful mix of those colours. I can still see the detail in there as well. Starfish, little shells in that giant shell. So I think he's been a success. That is that one. Now this one, I'm really worried about how to demold, because the mould isn't as loose. It's quite a tight fitting mould. And again, I think this would be a pain with resin, never mind EcoPour. So let's just try and loosen it as best as I can. And then I think I'm going to have to try and stretch the mould over it to try and demold, like so. And again, I've got a bit of colour left on this mould, which I'm not too worried about. I can always give my rinse afterwards. Here we go. Wow. There we go. And look at that, guys. I think that's turned out stunning. Let me know what you think. Just those different colours all mixed around. Now what I'm going to do is just get a wipe and wipe off some of the excess colour, because it is fully cured now. And then what I'm going to do is try this technique again, but do it with my mixing the resin and the EcoPour trick that I've done before, because then they shouldn't need sealing. But I think they've turned out really cool, so I am happy with them. Just look at this colour, excess colour. You don't need to put as much in as I did, clearly. So I'm just going to wipe them down, just to make sure that any loose bits, which you will sometimes get, are gone. And there we go. That is the finished piece. That is just beautiful. Those different colours. And again, another reason I'm going to want to seal this is to stop any bleeding of these colours. So I think I went a little bit overboard. But let me know what you think in comments, and I'll get a picture of these. And obviously we are going to cure them up. But for the next part of this experiment, I'm going to do my trick, which is mixing the EcoPour. And I say my trick, I'm sure other people have done it as well, with some resin. And where the red's gone really heavy, it's still coming off a little bit. Do you see what I mean? So I don't know how to fix that, but I think once I've got that top coat on, it will seal it all in beautifully anyway. So there we go, that's those two. I'm going to leave those to the side and let those cure. I'm going to wash these out, and then we're going to come back and do my EcoPour and resin mixture. Let's see if we get a different look or a different effect, but I do like them. And you can see all of those details coming out, and it's just a very different look to resin, guys. So I'll be right back in a second. So here we go with round two, guys. And I wasn't overly enamored with the way the first ones looked, to be honest. So I'm hoping that this is going to give me more of the effect that I wanted. So again, this is where I'm going to mix it with resin rather than water. And last time I did this, I did it with a deep pour, but I've seen people doing it with a 1-to-1 since I've done this experiment and having great results. So I'm going to try it with a 1-to-1 resin. Also means hopefully I can just put it in my curing machine and get it cured within a couple of hours, and then we can see the results. But I'm going to be using the same colours. The only difference here is I'm going to pour it slightly differently, and I'm going to be using resin rather than water to add to this EcoPour. I don't know if I've got enough left in this bag, but we'll see. Don't forget, with the resin, I don't think I'm going to need as much as if I was using water, because the resin's going to be more solid as well. Now that is about halfway. I want a tiny bit more than that. I want it about 3/4 EcoPour and 1/4 resin is what I'm going to go for. So I'm just going to grab a little bit more EcoPour in there, and then we're going to see what happens. And again, I don't necessarily dislike them, but it just wasn't the look I was going for. So I'm a bit of a perfectionist, and if I've got something in my head that I want to achieve, that's what I'm going to get. So this is that EcoPour powder. This is just 1-to-1 resin. This is the Apex High Gloss, and I'm going to pour a good amount in. So that is, I'm just having a look, 4 ounces of that resin, and I've mixed 6. I'm just going to mix it all through and see what consistency we get. And I can already tell that I'm going to need the rest of that, maybe a little bit more, because this is forming more of a paste. So let's pour that in and then make the decision as to whether or not to mix up some more. Yes, it's going to need some more because this is going to be far too thick. So I'm just going to grab some more resin and some hardener. Now, don't forget, the problem you've got here is the EcoPour is going to try and cure. Helps if you take the caps off at the same time as your resin. So you don't have a large working time here. So let's just do another couple of ounces. And the problem is, because I've undermixed my resin, I think we're going to be against the clock. So I am going to rush it a little bit just to get this done, because I don't want to waste it now I've already started. But I can just tell that is going to be too thick, so I need more resin in there. So again, just mixing this round. Good thing is I'm not too fussed about bubbles, because hopefully this will all debubble anyway. So again, just mixing it through quite quickly, as you can see. Almost rushing it now, which is never a good thing with resin. But what I should have done is mixed up twice as much, because if you look, this is now a paste. I don't want a paste. I still want it to have that liquidiness, if that is the right word. So I'm going to add some more resin. Now the resin I'm not worried about. I've got 20 to 40 minutes working time, but the EcoPour will be starting to solidify in that resin already. So this is now, I'm pretty confident, thoroughly mixed. We've got loads of bubbles in there, but hey, we can fix that if needs be. I think there's still quite a bit of resin that's gone in here. I would say 10 ounces of resin for these 2 molds. Here we go. This should give us the right consistency, I'm hoping. And again, just mixing it all around, because the last thing I want is any lumps in this as well. And we're going to see what we get. Last time I did this, I got a ceramic effect, which looked absolutely amazing. And you can still see there's some powder there. Here we go. Scrape the bottom as well, as always, to make sure that all of that powder is nicely mixed and you don't have big clumps. So this is almost that ceramic effect. Look at it. Now, I still want to use the same colors, guys. So interestingly, I'm just really scraping these sides now to make sure I've got it all mixed. And I think this is going to work now. Look at that. Slightly thicker pancake batter. And now what I'm going to do is I still want those 4 separate colors. So I've got 4 cups. Let's move the molds out of the way for a second. And I'm going to spread this reasonably equally in these 4 cups. It'll also make sure that I've got everything mixed. And it's almost like a thicker sort of PVA glue consistency, I would say. So let's pour some in that one. No idea how much is going in each. And I'm hoping that this gives me the effect that I'm going for. Whether it does or doesn't, I won't know until we've finished. So here we go, scrape the last of it in, because I don't want to waste any. I want them to be reasonably even amounts, but it won't matter too much if they're not. And I just want to mix that last bit of powder in there as well that I've just spotted. There we go. So I think they're about equal. Now what I'm going to do is just mix them around in the pot, because there was a bit of powder on the base there, and I want to make sure it's all thoroughly mixed. So that is number 1. Really strange this is as well. The first time you do it, you'll be like, what am I doing? So there we go. Now I want to have a bit in white, and then I want to use those same 3 colors. So we're going to go in with Dickens Red for one of them. Now this is where I've got to get a bit of a shifty on. I think that'll be enough. Then we had Crusoe Yellow, and I don't know how these will interact with the resin as well. because they're meant to be for EcoPour. We'll find out. And then we had the wild orange. So a bit of that in there. I think that's about equal all the way around. Now we're going to mix those up. Whoops. In fact, I need to get a wipe. Now I am conscious of time now, because I think I've gone over that working time that I did last time. So again, just try and clean as you go. It makes cleaning up a little bit easier, especially when it's pigments. So we've got white, we've got those 3 other colours, and then I'm going to move this out the way for a second, and we're just going to mix. So let's go with the yellow first. And the good news is it seems to be colouring it all, but I do want to mix it thoroughly to make sure it's all mixed around. Look at that, beautiful colour. That is that one. Now again, I'm going to give it a Y, although to be fair, a little bit intermixed won't matter. So now let's do the orange, which is almost a dark reddish orange. I think again, I've put a bit too much in there. We'll see. And what you can do is still, I've got to touch my white. Let's add a bit more white in there, just to make it a little bit fainter. So there's that. And it's a deep orange, this one. But I'm hoping that by doing it this way, we're going to get some cool intermixing of colours. And then this is that Crusoe red, a really rich, deep red. And I can feel that it's trying to cure already, guys. So again, just getting a bit of a shifty on. There we go. So that is those 3 separate colours. Now I just want to get the mould ready and the pouring device. Let's get rid of that. Put that to one side. And then let's get the moulds in place. So we've got this one, exactly the same moulds as last time, and this one. But we're going to go slightly differently in the way that we pour. So I'm just looking now. Have I got an empty one around? I have. So again, I'm going to use the same thing, but hopefully we're going to get a slightly different effect. In fact, there's a bit of white left in there, so I might as well use that. So let's put a bit of white in. So I'm going to layer these colours now. Bit of yellow. So a bit of orange. And a bit of red. Now I've not got as much white, but that's okay. I don't want as much white in the finished piece. And this is kind of dirty pouring it in there, as you can see. And I'm going to make a mess. That's okay. I think we're going to get one more ring of colour after this. So again, I'm just hoping that this gives us a different kind of effect, a different kind of pattern as well. And I'm hoping there's going to be enough. Don't know at this point for both. There's the yellow, there's the orange. Now I am going to scrape these cups as well, because I'm conscious that I don't think there's going to be enough to completely fill these. There's the rest of that red. And now let's scrape these cups, and I'll know where we are. So again, just going to grab my spoon and scrape whatever's left in these cups in there. Just the rest of that resin, along with the eco powder. Do you think this is going to work? Do you going to think we're going to get a very different effect? I do. Or do you think I've just gone a little bit crazy, guys? So again, scraping it all out, because I don't want to waste any of these beautiful colours. Now I've mixed them. And I think we're going to get a very different, almost ceramic effect by doing this, is the plan. And there's definitely going to be a lot of cleaning up to do. In you go. But I want to make sure I've got all of it out. And then the last of the red can go in as well. And there we go. Something I will say though about these EcoPour colours from Create and Bloom, they certainly keep the colours. They don't seem to fade like some do. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull it all through once like that. And I think that will give us a slightly different effect when we pour. And now, look at that mixture. Let's just go for it and see what happens. So in we go. Beautiful. That is more like it. Same with this side. Getting different variations of those colours. Hopefully going all the way around. And they have mixed a little bit. Now the question is, are we going to keep any rings of colour? Or are these just going to turn into one colour when it all intermixes? I don't know at this point. I don't even know if there's going to be enough to fill it, guys. So a little bit concerned, but I can always mix up some more if needs be. This is the one that I want to focus this last bit on. Come on. And I can see there's not enough. So what I'm going to do is I've still got enough powders in here. And I think actually to have a solid base on these won't look too bad. So first of all, let's scrape out what little resin I've got left in this cup. Haphazard resin. That's what we should change the name of the channel to. Scrape out anything else I can out of these. I don't want to waste what we've already mixed. Now I know this still isn't going to be enough. So what I'm going to do is just mix up, I think, another 4 ounces of resin. So, right, let's grab some resin. And hopefully this will give us a completely different effect to what we just had. So here we go. I just want 4 ounces, I would say, to completely fill these. And if I get a slightly more transparent base, that's okay, which I think I will, because obviously I'm not having any much eco powder in this, but this is messy. I'll pre-warn you guys, this is very messy. So that is 60, let's get it up to 120, and that should be enough to fill this up. So let's mix the resin first. Again, always scrape your sides and your bottom. That's the most important part, because that's where your resin's gonna stick. And that is looking so cool already. I'm loving that color mixture. And now what I'm gonna do, I'm pretty confident that is already mixed. I'm just gonna, well, in fact, let's mix it for another 30 seconds. Then I'm gonna pour that in, and that'll create this base layer for them. And I don't know if this is gonna work or not, but I think we'll get a very different effect to what we got last time. And that's the whole point. Keep on going until you get something that you are really happy with. So now I'm just going to drizzle this through with the rest of these colors. Now, I'm not going to get that same intermixing here. Pretty confident about that. But I am going to get a similar color for that base. And then I've got a lot of tidying up to do, guys. So I'm going to mix this through just once or twice and then fill her up. I'm hoping it's still going to intermix a little bit with the fact that it isn't fully cured yet. Here we go. And this should just fill them up beautifully. Now I'm going to leave them for about an hour, and then I'm going to come back and put them in my curing machine so they're fully cured. And then we're going to see what we've got in about 3 hours time. Now I have got a tiny bit spare. So where's those skull molds? Let's get a couple of them involved in this as well. It is Halloween after all, almost. When I'm filming this, it's probably way gone by the time it comes out. Here we go. What a mess I've got to clear up. Again, I've still got a couple of drips here. Always use all your resin, that way you're not wasting any. And as I say, I've got a lot of cleanup to do here, but I'm probably going to wait for it to just cure, because it will make it a lot easier for cleanup. So there's 3. I don't know if we've got enough for more than that. We'll see. These are going to be quite cool orange little skulls as well. Loving that colour we've just created. And this is almost like a jack-o'-lantern orange, which I like. You watch, these skulls will end up being my favourite pieces. Often happens. And I have got a tiny bit left, so I'm going to try and do another one. Let's have a look. I've got one more skull at the side of me, and then I've got all that. I think we're only going to have enough to fill one of those. Let's do a pour, actually. I've got 3. Let's do one more skull. Just because I'm loving that colour, and I think it'll look great in a skull. And then I think I've got enough to fill that pour pad as well. Don't know. Let's completely scrape all of these. Beautiful. And then whatever's left can go into this heart with whatever red I can get out of this cup. Beautiful. Now we're going to leave those to cure. I'll see you guys hopefully tonight for a bit of a demold. See you later. Right, so we're back, and these should have cured. They feel cured to me, so let's see what we've got. And then you'll have to let me know at the end which one you prefer. Now, what I did do is I noticed the base on this one had sank a little bit. So I emptied one of the skulls and most of this heart out. So again, still a bit flexible because there's not a lot of resin in this. But there we go. Pretty anyway. But yeah, let's demold some of these skulls. See what they've come out like. And then let's get straight onto those big pieces, because I'm conscious this has been a long video. So there's a beautiful orange skull, and look at that. That's where the eco is. So I'm hoping I've got a similar kind of stone effect on these bigger pieces, but we won't know until we demold. Oh, the cat paw's running away. So again, that came out really cool in that diamond effect mold. But let's get straight onto these big pieces, and then we can do a comparison. You can let me know which one you prefer. So I'm going to do this one first, because I think this one will be easier to demold. And I'm less concerned about this one than the other one. Oh, wow. Look at this, guys. Come on. There we go. So that is demolded. Came out clean, which is good. Put the mold the right way around, and let's have a look. Oh, wow. Got a couple of bubbles. Not many, though. And this one, I think it just shows the detail a lot better. Look at that. And you've still got those differences of colours in certain areas. And I love that. This is the effect that I was hoping for. Look at that. Beautiful. So there's that one. It's not really an EcoPour effect. It's more of a resiny effect with EcoPour in it. But for me, it gives it an almost ceramic feel. All right, let's see if we can get this one out as well. And then we'll compare them side by side. And you can tell me which one you prefer. Because obviously it's not down to me, it's down to which one you guys prefer as well as to what technique you're likely to do. Here we go. And this one's demolding pretty easily as well. Wow, look at that. There's different color specs just running through it. Not as much as I'd perhaps like. If I did it again, I'd probably add more white and leave more white in between the layers and the marbling. But I think for me, they look a lot better, and that's just my taste. So I'm going to go get the others, and then we're going to compare side by side, and you can let me know. So let's start with the conch shell. So this is the EcoPour one. Pretty cool. And this is the one that we mixed with resin. Two very different effects. So which one do you prefer the look of? Let me know. And obviously the EcoPour ones I still need to finish and seal. And this was the other seashell one. Now I think the problem was I had too much red in that area, so I lost a lot of the detail on the actual EcoPour piece. But I think it comes out beautifully in this resin mixed with EcoPour piece. Let me know what you think in comments. Let me know which one you prefer. And it was just a fun experiment to test these molds out that I've not used before with both EcoPour and resin to get those two completely different effects. Let me know which one you prefer in comments. And as always, like and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you guys on the next video.